So today we're going to talk about Chapter 2, Section 1, Writing and Graphing Inequalities. So the vocabulary word that we're going to talk about is what is an inequality. An inequality compares two values, showing if one is less than, greater than, or simply not equal to another value. For example, we can have the symbol less than, greater than, less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to. And then below over here are the other key phrases for each symbol. So for example, greater than can also be known as is more than. Or whenever you see is at least, that means that you can use the greater than or equal to symbol. So make sure to copy this in your notes. All right. So right here we have writing inequalities. And so for example, we have a number w minus 3.5 is less than or equal to negative 2. Now if we look at our chart, it will tell us that less than or equal to gives us the less than or equal to sign. And then we can also annotate the other information that's provided here. So it says here a number w, so I'm going to write down the variable w, and it's minus 3.5. So minus means that we're doing the subtraction operation, so I'm going to subtract by 3.5, and is less than or equal to negative 2. So I'm just going to drop down that negative 2. So in the end, like a nicer version of it would be w minus 3.5 less than or equal to negative 2. Over here we have 3 is less than n plus 5. So I know that in the key table that I have, less than means that I have this symbol. It doesn't have that equal sign there because it doesn't say less than or equal to, it just says less than. And then I see here that there is 3 is, so that means that I have a 3 in there. And then it says a number n, so I'm going to drop down the variable n, and it's plus 5. I know that plus for operations means addition, so I'm going to write down the plus sign and then add 5 to there. So in my equation, I get 3 less than n plus 5. Okay. And so what I'm going to do right now is exit out, and then we can practice some right now. Alright, so here it says write the inequality for a number is at most 9. So try to do that yourself first, and then we'll work on it together. Okay. So I'm going to write it down again. It says here that it was, let me move this over here. A number is at most 9. So I'm going to write that a number is at most 9, right? So if I look back at the table, I know that at most means that I use this symbol. And so I say here that a number, we don't know what that number is, so I'm just going to choose a variable such as a, I would say. And it is at most 9, which means that the 9 gets brought down. So my equation, I'm going to use a different variable because it does look too similar to that 9, so I'm going to use b. So b is less than or equal to 9. And that would count for a number is at most 9. So let's try out another one. Let me clear this. So the next one says to write the inequality 8 is greater than a number times 2. So I'll give you time to write down the inequality expression. Okay. So over here we have 8 is greater then a number, times 2. So the first thing to look at is the greater than portion. And so we know that greater than, the symbol for that is this. We drop down the 8. So now we say that 8 is greater than, and it says a number. We don't know what that number is, so we can use a variable. I'm going to use the variable w just because I want to. And then it says w times 2. So times, I know that's the operation for multiplication, so I'm going to multiply by 2. So my expression would be 8 greater than w times 2. Or you can also write it as 8 greater than 2w. Either one works. Okay. Alright, so this is the next slide, which is writing inequalities from graphs. So now that we know how to write the expression, we can do that first. So x is less than 2. We know that less than gives us this symbol, and it's less than 2. X is greater than 2 in our table. Greater than gives us that symbol, and it's greater than 2. X is less than or equal to 2. We have that less than sign, and then it also says equal to. So we have to have that line underneath our less than sign. And then the last one is x is greater than or equal to 2. Now when we're graphing this, let me write down a number line right here. And 0 is over here. We have 1, 2, and 3. Over here we have -1, -2, and then -3. So we start at 2, and because it's not equal to 2, because we don't have that line saying that it is, we're going to leave, let me use a different color. We're going to leave the 2 empty. Because we're not saying that it is equal to 2, we're just saying it's less than 2. And because it's less than, that means that we're going to draw an arrow to the left, because then we're saying that 1 is less than 2, because 1 is part of that connecting to that arrow. Another one is -1 is less than 2. And all of these are true statements. 0 is less than 2. If we drew the arrow to the other side, we would be saying that 3 is less than 2, and that's not true. So because of that, we write down the arrow pointing to the left side. Let's look at the other statement that we have here, where x is greater than 2. So I have 0, 1, 2, 3. On the other side is -1, -2, and then -3. So in this case, we start at 2 with the empty circle, and we're saying that x is greater than 2. So if x is greater than 2, that means anything bigger than 2, and so we're going to point our arrow to the right. And in this case, 3 is greater than 2. That statement is true. We can't say it's going this way because 1 is not greater than 2. That doesn't work. So I'm going to erase this because this is not true. Let's look at the other one right here, the other statement where we have 0, 1, 2, 3, and then -1, -2, and -3. In this case, we have this equal sign, and because we have the equal sign, that means that rather than leaving it empty, we're going to fill it up. And the reason why is because now it could be 2. So we have to make sure that we have to include it into our set. And it's less than or equal to 2. So that means that we have to point it in a direction where all the numbers are less than 2. Let's do one more right here, where we have 0, 1, 2, and 3. On this side we have -1, negative 2, and negative 3. And so we have x is greater than or equal to 2. So it starts at 2, and it has to be greater than 2. So I'm going to point it in the direction where all the numbers are greater than 2. Okay. So hopefully this helps. Good luck.